start with our transfers. So who do you think was the best signing of the year?
I think it has to be Danny Ings. Has to. I think if someone comes into your club, scores 22 goals, 2 assists, and just he carried them basically. They only scored 51 goals,
Yeah.
and he scored 22, or he contributed to 24 of them. And he was just, I don't know, he was just a new man, mate. He was just on fire. The way he was, I looked at his stats, and his shots and shots on target per 90 were the same as last season, but he was just 3 times more efficient than he was last season. So 3 times more goals per shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or 3 times less shots per goal. However you want it.
He got his mojo back.
Yeah, it really shows that like strikers, it's all about confidence or mental for them.
Yeah.
I think we saw the same thing with guys like Morata. I think the way they dip and then go up, it's just like you've got to be able to if you believe in that player, you got to keep going with them until they hit their form, and I think they'll pay you back for that. I think that's what Southampton did. They saw that he clearly has talent, he can clearly finish, and he really did pay them back. So, I mean, I'm happy for him, honestly. He got out of Liverpool and done the best with it, so good on him.
First time he's had 10 plus goals in a season since 2014-15. First time he's ever scored more than 10 goals in the Premier League. Actually, I think he scored 11 one year, but yeah. Last time he scored close to this amount was in the Championship in like 2013. I think he scored like 15 or something.
I think it was 21, but still less than this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the most he's ever scored in a league season, which I thought was pretty impressive.
Yeah. And that's in the Prem, where the Championship they have like 46 games and stuff, and it's obviously worse. So that's pretty crazy from Danny Ings. It was only 22 million as well. So although for a 28-year-old, that's like pretty expensive on the exterior. Once you've looked at this season, you see that as a bargain now.
Yeah, without him, I think they would have been in a relegation fight, so he would have made them a lot of money, to be fair.
Yeah, I think if he was to stop playing now, I think a 22-goal season is worth 22 mil, even if it's just one season alone. But obviously, he's going to keep offering them the goods. And I think they really needed it as well. Although I did say Southampton looked to get their mojo back this year, I do think they wouldn't have been that far off relegation if it wasn't for his goal scoring prowess. Because Che Adams was a bit of a flop.
Yeah, except for that halfway goal.
Yeah, he really struggled to get on the score sheet early on. And then, their defence and midfield was all right. But yeah, Danny Ings carried the fellas. But yeah, not much else to really say about him. I'm glad he did really well. I'm a Liverpool fan, but I really don't like when the big clubs buy the smaller team's best players and just stick them on the bench. I know he was injured a lot, but even if he was fit, he wouldn't have played. I don't really rate that when the big teams do that. I'd rather the player go and dominate somewhere. So it was really awesome to see, and especially I'm sure it was like huge for like his mental health after 3 years of just being permanently injured.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's huge for him.
Good on him.
I've got 3 more I want to mention. Is there anyone else you are going to talk about, or?
I think
because I don't want to steal your thunder.
I didn't really have anyone else to too much talk about, but I thought Lo Celso, he tried.
Yeah,
he showed why everyone was why everyone was interested in. But he actually, in a Tottenham team that sucked, he actually did show that he's still a quality player.
Yeah,
and like I think it sucks for him that he's going to be stuck there for a few years, because I don't think they're going to want to sell him. They just paid.
I don't think they paid too much as well at the end of the day, which is pretty handy.
It was good business by them, but if they're not going to put the pieces around him or a manager around him that can get the best out of him, I think it's going to. I don't really see his career going where it could have. I think his career, like, it was a crossroads where he went, and I think he got the rough end of the stick, but you never know.
Yeah, best signing. I'm actually going Alan St. Maximin. 23-year-old left winger. He only had 7 goal involvements in 26 appearances, but that's still pretty handy. 17th in goals in total. However, we do have to take into account Newcastle are pretty average, especially in attack. So all those stats are going to be low compared to someone in like a top 8, top 10 team.
Yeah.
He won 3 man of the matches. But this is his main thing, all right? 4.7 dribbles a game. That's the second most in the Prem, behind only the one Adama. I think Messi, he had just over 5 or maybe exactly 5, so he's right up there with the great man.
Yeah.
He also had 1.3 key passes a game, which is pretty handy. And probably the biggest thing about him is it was only 18 mil. So someone who was highly touted, everyone was excited about the signing fit to be a fairly low fee. I think that was a pretty great bit of business there from Newcastle, who we might talk about later, also did some average business, so kind of evened out.
And I think
But
it's good for them as well, because he's one player who actually brings some excitement to that club.
yeah, it's like Payet at West Ham.
Yeah, it's like they are known for being one of the most boring sides to watch. Honestly, like I would hate to watch them. I hated to watch them before. Now at least they give him the ball and he tries to he gets people at least halfway off the edge of their seat. But
yeah, I do think that's really important for the clubs outside
sure.
like the top positions. Like I do think that was also a reason why Palace were pretty stubborn in terms of the Zaha deals, because he did that for Palace. He made them interesting to watch.
You got to have someone who's like the face of the club, something that draws the fans in. Otherwise, there's like the toxicity at clubs like Newcastle is always high. They're always like fucking complaining about
yeah, he was honestly he's so good to watch. I think he's the most exciting player to watch they've had since like Ben Arfa or like Cisse or something. But he's awesome. He's brought it back to Newcastle. Then other two guys, they were pretty expensive, but Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Christian Pulisic. Pulisic was bought last Christmas, but I'm counting him in this one because he got loaned back. Yeah, Wan-Bissaka, 55 mil, so that's a fair, good old chunk. 22-year-old though, so he's got a lot of time at the club. Could be there for 10 years. Right back, 3 man of the matches. He had the third most tackles in the Premier League, which didn't drop from last year, which is a huge shock because he went from Palace to Man U, so you would think he would get, less dominated, but, it is Man United, so maybe, maybe they deep down were getting more bummed, but you would expect his tackles to go down, so that's pretty impressive. It didn't. And then in total, he had 5.6 tackles and interceptions, which only dropped 0.5 from last year, which I think there's no tackle and interception combined stat that I could find, but I'm pretty sure that'd have him like around 5th or something. In that top 5 anyway. And in one of the top, 4 teams, that's pretty good because usually those stats are dominated by the guys in the relegated sides. So that's pretty awesome footy from him. I have to say though, I have heard a lot of people. I can't lie. Actually, this is probably the least I've watched the Premier League since like for a while, because this year I decided to actually prioritize my sleep over the soccer. So any game past like 2:00, I was like, nah, I'm not watching that. Gotta keep sane. So I can't lie, I didn't see too much of him. But I heard a lot of people saying he gets bulk tackles just because he turns the ball over all the time and then just wins it back. And it's just like a cycle. I don't care. I'm taking the stats the way they are.
I think it's everyone talks about, like Trent doesn't position himself well. I don't think Wan-Bissaka's positioning is all that special either. The thing he has over Trent is his recovery speed.
Yeah.
And his actual ability to tackle is a lot higher than Trent's, to be fair. So I think he's sometimes caught out of position, and but it's all right for him because his recovery speed is like first class, world class, however you want to say it.
And he doesn't offer it much in attack, which compared to Trent is clearly the huge downfall to him.
Yeah.
But the thing is, in that team, they don't need an attacking fullback because their front 6 are all like strikers. So they do need some people who are solely defenders, even if that means they can't attack. Because they're trying to fit 3 strikers into one team and then 2 cams. So somewhere the balance has got to be tipped. The scales are going to be tipped the other way, and Wan-Bissaka does that for the boys. Then next, we're looking at Pulisic, 64 mil. As I said, he was last Christmas, but he got loaned back to Dortmund, so he was new to Chelsea this season. 21 years old, left winger, 4 man of the matches in only 19 starts, 13 goal involvements in 25 appearances, so pretty much one every second. 2.2 dribbles, 1.2 key passes, and 2.5 shots, which are all pretty good. Nothing like crazy in there. They wouldn't be like top 10 stats, but all pretty handy. You would have him sitting around 20th. So yeah, do you think Pulisic was a good signing? Or
I think he's been incredible, honestly, since the restart as well. He's so exciting to watch.
Yeah,
I think he can go past almost anyone. His finishing is actually more impressive than I thought. He showed glimpses, and then he scored a hat trick, I think, didn't he? He just took over a couple of games.
I think so, yeah,
I'm pretty sure
when he got injured in the FA Cup, I just freaking lost interest.
Yeah,
I was just like,
he was their most exciting player by far, and I think he's earned himself a starting spot, even when they bring in Werner, Ziyech, and Havertz. I think he's going to play off the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Despite when those guys come, I think Ziyech will play predominantly off the right, and then Werner and Havertz more down the middle. So I think...
Yeah, good luck to Lampard trying to pick that team.
Yeah, honestly.
Such an average job.
Yeah. I think they've got too many assets.
They've got 8 blokes. I can't lie, like, they're great signings, but you have to question, like, why have you just... It's like Arsenal, like, why do you keep signing blokes in the positions you're set in? Because, like, now Mount and Abraham, they're probably going to struggle to get...
Yeah, I was like, honestly... Like, I understand if Havertz is there, you go and get him because he's just that good. But come on, man, that's kind of overkill. Like, give the other blokes a chance.
Yeah. The only thing I guess you can argue is, Abraham and Mount have been impressive this year, but are they going to be the striker and cam for your team that wins, 3 or 4 Premier Leagues over the next decade?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the question you got to ask yourself. They're obviously quality, but are they that good? Which I think would be up for debate.
I think our hopes for Chelsea are not as high as their own, clearly. They're thinking we want to be dominant, we want to be the best in the world, and if you want to be the best in the world, you have to have the best players. So I think I don't see Mount or Abraham ever being the best in the world, but I think Havertz, Werner, definitely good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think those two signings, although they were quite hefty fees, I think they were pretty impressive, and obviously both young as Saint-Maximin is. But yeah.
It's a miracle! Oh, yeah! What about that one? Unbelievable! Balotelli, Aguero! Crowd cheers. Here's Siddle.